Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. Today is Monday, February 28th, 2022. And we begin with what could be a do-or-die day for baseball. In an ultimatum issued by the league, a deal with players has to be reached in the next few hours or the March 31st start of the 2022 season will be delayed and games will be canceled. The two sides disagree on a lot of things, and most involve money. The lockout began in December, has already delayed spring training, and now qualifies as the second longest work stoppage in baseball history. According to the New York Times, even longer was the 1994-95 players' strike, which resulted in the loss of more than 900 games and canceled the 1994 World Series. All hope is not lost, though. Talks continue, and if there's progress, the league might change its own deadline and allow the first pitch to be thrown on March 31st as planned. A glimmer of hope in the battle between Ukraine and Russia. The two sides sent low-level envoys to the border yesterday afternoon to hold peace talks. As of this recording, there's no word on the outcome. What is clear, however, is that Ukraine is standing surprisingly strong in the wake of relentless pummeling by Vladimir Putin's troops, and that is buying precious time for NATO countries to act before it's too late. Over the weekend, Western allies further tightened the economic screws on Mr. Putin by expelling many Russian banks from what's called the SWIFT payment system, which provides key messaging data for worldwide financial transactions. It's a move analysts believe could quickly cripple Vladimir Putin's economy. The sports world is also taking note and action. Poland, Sweden, and the Czech Republic are all refusing to play Russia in World Cup qualifying matches next month. In a statement, the Polish team said, "It's not an easy decision, but there are more important things in life than football, or soccer, as it's called in the U.S." And in the tennis world, two top 10 Russian stars are speaking out against the invasion. After a match in Mexico, world number 1 Daniil Medvedev said, "I'm all for peace." Likewise, number 7 Andrei Rublev approached a TV camera and wrote, "No war, please," on its lens for all at home to see. History may soon take a seat on the Supreme Court of the United States. On Friday, President Biden nominated Ketanji Brown Jackson to fill the shoes of retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. She's been the reported frontrunner all along, and if confirmed by the Senate, she will be the first Black woman ever appointed to the highest court in the land. Judge Jackson went to Harvard for both her undergraduate and graduate degree, then clerked for 3 federal judges, including Justice Breyer, the man she might replace. In addition to being the first Black woman on the Supreme Court, the 51-year-old would also be the first former federal public defender, something President Biden used to be, to become a high court justice. Last week, we told you about Hank the Tank, a massive black bear making unwanted visits to dozens of homes in South Lake Tahoe, California. As it turns out, the big guy had some help. DNA evidence collected over the past few months led the state's Department of Fish and Wildlife to conclude that at least 3 bears were to blame for the break-ins. Do they all look alike? Not to fellow bears, but to humans, yes, especially in a moment of panic. Those doing bear patrol now say they're hoping to track, tag, and capture the trio, then find a more suitable habitat to release them. Meanwhile, homeowners who've had the unfortunate face-to-face encounter say that, with the exception of pilfering food, the bears were pretty polite house guests. As the director of the Bear League told the New York Times, they just sit there and eat. That's it for KidNuz. Now, today's KidNuz quiz. Russia got booted from what global banking system over the weekend? SWIFT. What is the name of the nominee who might become the first Black woman on the Supreme Court? Ketanji Brown Jackson. What sport is hinging on an agreement being reached in the next few hours? Major League Baseball. Hank the Tank took the blame, but how many bears are now believed to be behind the Tahoe break-ins? At least 3. In today's Kid News Kicker, no matter how old you are, your mom will always be your mom, and that means she might want to pop by to say hello unannounced. That holds true even if you grow up to be a television reporter and are about to shoot a stand-up. Miles Harris of ABC6 in Ohio was on the street, cameras rolling, when his mom pulled her car over, rolled down the window, and shouted, "Hi, baby." Of course, he rolled his eyes, but like any good son, took time out for a quick chat and to tell her to stop blocking traffic. Fortunately, the entire feel-good moment, including Mom blowing him a kiss, was caught on tape and has since whipped around the internet into newsrooms all around the country. Miles and his story even made it on a Good Morning America, where Mom surprised him by popping in again, this time virtually, right in the middle of his big national debut. Before we head out, we want to shout out our teachers and their classrooms, starting with Mrs. Sloma at Lions Park Elementary in Mount Prospect, Illinois. Ms. Smith at Dr. Thomas S. O'Connell School in East Hartford, Connecticut. Mrs. Delizia at Walled Lake Elementary in Walled Lake, Michigan. Mrs. Hahn and her Chiefs fans in the Lee's Summit School District in Lee's Summit, Missouri. And Old Man C at East Rochester School in Rochester, New Hampshire. Thanks for listening. We hope you can take a moment to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.